Yeah. Okay, how you doing, Brother Mark? We're going to give it just a couple seconds. I'm going to get some a little water. And, oh my, this is so wonderful. This is such a white day, a white night to everyone. Oh, happy birthday to you. Wow, your birthday is so close to the Diddy trial. I hope you're having a good time. Before we even start, I want to hear from y'all. Who out there is a TD Jakes fan so I can make fun of you? Y'all can, don't be ashamed. I'm going to make fun of you anyway. Um, hold on. This gives me the option to do some stuff with this screen. Oh, I love this. Oh, I love this. Let me see. Do I want green screen? Nothing. Okay. Coretta Scott King's birthday. Okay, well, I met Mrs. King one time. She seemed okay. Um, but then again, you never know. But I hope she's okay. I hope she's okay. I hope Mrs. King was a really fine person. I think so. Okay. Let's just start off with this. Because I got 7 people. Let me wait a second. Let me get my water in. I should take some ashwagandha. I should have some comedy enhancing drugs. And I got a whole bunch of things. When I was waiting to come back into just a bunch of things that I was like looking at. I even got some classic books. I'm gonna have to show those to y'all that I didn't do. Uh-oh, the numbers are going up. I told you I would come back. I have some old classic books. Just share them with you. Titles that you that buy and collect books. Certain things that aren't as easy to find. And some of them are like pricey. So I'll get out. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just stepping over here to grab something. So don't go anywhere. Don't do that. Okay. Lord. This. Wow. Get you. Tell you. Speeds. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, about ready? Because I'm definitely ready. And I'll figure out where that copy is. Um, get yourself something to drink. Get yourselves ready. Because this stuff is. Oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for. Just to make certain I have it. Um, oop. Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Let's get this party started. This is going to be a very, very short. No, I'm not choking my bandwidth. My bandwidth is fine. So, yeah, we'll be just good. Hold on 1 second. I think I saw that when people come in and they're negative, they're gone. I don't care who they are, they're not paying me. Hey, Latoya, I don't like negative comments. And the name looks weird. Okay. Let me give you guys the ground rules. I want to let everybody know I grew up in a very diverse neighborhood, although it's predominantly white and extreme white at that. I always accepted other people had a point of view, even if I didn't like it. And if other people went somewhere to talk, they always had the freedom to talk about what they want to talk about. I would never think I want to listen to the white conversation about black people, whatever. Basically, you already know folk don't like you. And never had that interest. For anybody coming on my channel or platform, unsolicited, chatty comments, I'm simply going to block you because I don't know you. This is all virtual. I'm adding value to you. You're not adding anything to me. The people that make comments never donate. They never support. They don't retweet. So it isn't so much that I don't think people have a right to an opinion, is the fact that those folks come to tear down and destroy. And I'm not interested. So if you come on and you say something stupid to me or rude or it's not helpful, I don't know you, go away. I'm not trying to have 1,000,000 people on a platform. If that happened, so be it. I would be the same way. I'd be happy with a good 5,000 people, a good solid 5,000 people. There are a lot of folks that have these huge platforms, but I don't know how much they inform people beyond talking about current news and events. I'm not competing with anyone. So I don't necessarily cover what everybody else does. If folk want to talk about Carmelo, of which I support Carmelo Anthony and Wrench, then they do it. If I bring it up because it's something I want to do, not because everyone else is doing it, I'm not interested in what everyone else does. Too many black people are copycats. Find something that you do it well, and offer something that's of interest. And if nobody pays attention to what I do that I consider interesting, so be it. If people do, that's fine too. Let me have some more ginseng. I want some comedy enhancing drugs. And I'll get some more if I feel like it. Hi, Mrs. Kelly. Thank you. Now, I want to talk about the film Sinners because I've seen it once and hopefully I'll see it a second time. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about the importance of books. Oh, hi, Sister Star. Sister Star, you're right here with, hi, Sister Star, and Mrs. Kelly, two of the coolest, most helpful sisters in the universe. So I want to shout you out for always helping. One of the things I'm going to say to you before I even get into the film, Sinners, and we're going to go over this, and I'm going to probably pull it up so I make certain that I get everything right. So I get it, and we can do the news on Sinners. And we can talk about, let me see, we can get this stuff straight. And let me see, let me go to Variety and see what they're saying, how much money they've taken in. So let me see. Wow. And let me just say this to you so I can get right into this. One of the reasons that I decide to talk about books is because if you don't read and you're ignorant, you really don't know what's going on. Even when you sing it and you think you understand it. The film Sinners, in many ways, inhabits the zone of giving people images that are not historically accurate and stuff I wouldn't put in the film, not because you can't do it, but because it doesn't give people historical realism, which is very important. And I will say to you that this is one of the reasons I talk about books. There's another reason I also emphasize getting people to look at books and read them and buy them and own them. I'm tearing this label off of this book. I got this luckily for a few bucks. It's one of my favorite old books. This is a reprinting of it, but that's okay. I bought it anyway because of the information in it and because of its historic purpose, and also because it speaks to the issue that we're facing right now that someone was looking at about 100 years ago. Let me just get the date of this. I think this was, and this is a book that came out of the library. The original printing of the book was done in, wow. Oh, let me see this. Oh, no, let me get Everlasting Stain. What this book does, which is really important, is that it addresses the whole issue of black population. And these folks are very concerned about black numbers. And this book, this is a compilation of two books by one of the very first black PhD mathematicians, Dr. Kelly Miller, who got his PhD in mathematics from Howard University. And he was a prolific writer and a major important figure that a lot of us don't hear about because not everybody's out marching and getting shot and killed. But one of the things that Kelly Miller did was expose the fraud of how things were being reported in terms of the black population about 100 years ago. And he was pointing out, if I can find the Negro population, here it is. This is, and I'll read the just how people lie about how many of us there are. Excuse me. This is called Enumeration Errors in the Negro Population. And this is from Everlasting Stain. And Everlasting Stain was published in 1923. So this is a reprint of a book that's 102 years old. And what Kelly Miller was trying to talk about was how white people had issues with black people around race and everything else. But the other thing that was getting them was lying about the black population. We're dealing this with the illegals that have been brought in and so forth. This is all about the insecurity that white people feel. And that segues to Sinners and why I want to talk a little bit about the film. And forgive me, something, let me turn this fan off. Sinners is a well shot, well done film, and technically with special effects, the cast, and all of that. And Sinners is set. In fact, let me pull it out and read what they say it's about, and then we can get into the film. And I'm going to spend maybe a few minutes on it. First thing we need you to know is, in spite of all the white critics, Sinners has grossed $122.5 million in 2 weekends in just North America. And overall has taken in $161,600,000 globally. That's in 2 weeks against the $90 million budget. Contrast that with The Color Purple, which did a big weekend and then it went to shit, which it should have been. So you've got Ryan Coogler, who did Black Panther and Creed, with his star, Michael B. Jordan. And this has continued to do well. It's doing well globally. And to its credit, the film has only seen a 6% drop in the amount of people buying tickets this weekend as composed to or compared to last weekend. Not only that, they saw an astounding just 16% drop in the ticket purchasing rate on the weekdays, meaning that people are going to see this film all week long. And through word of mouth and everything else, this film is on its way to being one of the best grossing films in the country and for the year, certainly. And there's even a description of it in the mainstream press that Sinners is leading the movie industry out of the desert. In other words, all of the white films, basically, they aren't getting it. And the one black film that they dismissed is exploding. In fact, it's pulling people back into the theaters. So we can say hats off to Mr. Ryan Coogler for making a film that's gotten people to come out and buy Raisinets, popcorn, ices, and theater tickets. And a whole lot of black actors got paid and so forth. And I'm very happy whenever people earn money and they're not hurting people per se. So I want to praise it. The film is well done. Again, the actors for the most part are okay. I haven't gone, and I need to say this to you, I had not gone to a horror film in a theater in 50 years until last week. I'm 60 to show you how I feel about horror and vampire films. In fact, most of what I saw was werewolf and vampire stuff 50 years ago, and I just don't like horror films. I think being black is horrible enough. Things like what's happening to Carmelo Anthony's family, the two twins slaughtered in Georgia, and all the other terrible things that happen, or people trying to kill my mother when she's going in for health care. Life has its own horrors. I don't need to pay for someone to try to scare or do something that's horrific to me. So let's say amen to that. What I'm going to say of Sinners, let me give you a description of this film so you can know what it is. It's 2 hours and 17 minutes. It got released April 18th. Ryan Coogler is the director. Okay. It's horror adventure. And the music is okay, although we can get into music later. Let me read what is here in Wikipedia's description of it, and then we can go from there. How about that? Sinners is a 2025 American horror film written, co-produced, and directed by Ryan Coogler, set in 1932 in the Mississippi Delta, in the area of the city of Clarksdale, Mississippi. The film stars Michael B. Jordan in dual roles as twin brothers who return to their hometown to start again, only to be confronted by a supernatural evil. The film also features Haley Steinfeld, Miles Caton, Jack O'Connell, Wunmi Musaku, Jamie Lawson, Omar Miller, and Delroy Lindo. This film again runs 138 minutes. It says that Coogler began developing the film genre through his production company of Proximity Media by January 2024, when Jordan was cast. Warner Brother Pictures acquired distribution rights the next month following a bidding war, and casting for additional roles took place in April. Principal photography took place from April to July 2024. Longtime Coogler collaborator Ludwig Göransson, he's the guy that does the music, composed the film score and served as the executive producer. Sinners premiered April 3rd, 2025, and was theatrically released in the United States on April 18th by Warner Brothers Pictures. The film received critical acclaim, with particular praise for Coogler's direction and Göransson's score. Okay. At this moment, it is the 7th highest grossing film of 2025, and it's only been out 2 weeks, and we're going into the 5th month of the year. Let's do the plot. I'm going to read this so we can go back through it. Are y'all with me? In 1932, identical twins and World War I veterans Smoke and Stack returned to Clarksdale, Mississippi, after years spent working for the Chicago outfit using money stolen from gangsters. They purchased a sawmill from racist landowner Hogwood to start a juke joint for the local black community. Their cousin Sammy, an aspiring guitarist, joins them despite opposition from his pastor father, Jedediah, who warns that the blues music is supernatural. The twins recruit other staff, pianist Delta Slim and singer Pearline, with whom Sammy becomes enamored as performers. Smoke's estranged wife, Annie, as cook. Local Chinese shopkeepers Grace and Bo as suppliers, and field worker Cornbread as the bouncer. Meanwhile, Stack reconnects with his ex-girlfriend Mary, who passes for white. Mary resents abandoning her when he left for Chicago. Smoke and Annie argue over her belief in the occult, as Annie insists her practices kept the twins safe, but Smoke bitterly reminds her that their infant daughter still died. Elsewhere, Irish immigrant vampire Remick flees from Choctaw vampire hunters and violently turns a married Klansman couple into vampires. At the juke joint's opening night, Sammy's music is transcendent, unknowingly summoning spirits of both past and future to join the entranced crowd. The performance draws Remick's attention, and he arrives with his minions, these are the vampires, offering money and music for entry. Suspicious, Stack and Smoke, the twins, hesitate, and the vampires retreat, Reminding the twins that the bar needs the income, Mary, the half-breed, meets Remick outside but is turned. She returns inside where she seduces Stacks and bites him. So the half-breed girl becomes a vampire. Smoke shoots her, but she is unharmed by the regular bullets and escapes. Cornbread, the bouncer, he gets attacked by the Irish vampire and he turns into a vampire. As the joint empties, the vampires attack and turn the departing patrons, including Bo. So the Chinese husband, the Chinese are like playing both sides, white and black, having segregated rest stores and so forth. They turn everybody that leaves the juke joint into vampires. Stack revives as a vampire. This is the twin that gets bit by the white girl, right? He becomes, so one of the twins becomes a vampire. But the girlfriend of the other brother, Annie, repels him with pickled garlic juice. She educates the survivors. Only sunlight, silver, or wooden stakes can kill vampires, and they cannot enter a building unless invited. Remick, now leading a horde of vampires, is still unable to enter the bar and negotiates. He praises Sammy's supernatural talent and claims that vampirism offers immortality, freedom, and escape from racism, and he wants to use Sammy's skills to summon the spirits of his lost community. Remick also warns that Hogwood, who secretly heads the local clan, plans to attack the bar at dawn. When the survivors refuse his offer, Remick and Bo confront Grace, threatening to attack her daughter. So the Chinese woman has a daughter back in town, guys. And they said, well, bitch, if you don't let us in the club, we'll bite and make your daughter into a vampire. A desperate Grace, the Chinese woman, dares the vampires to attack the joint, thereby inviting them in. This is a betrayal of how Tethers and others mess us up. Grace, Delta Slim, and Annie are killed in the ensuing battle. Mary is devastated by Annie's death and flees the bar. Smoke, Sammy, and Pearline attempt to escape, but Remick and Stack ambush them. Smoke and Stack clash in a brutal fight, while Sammy and Pearline face off Remick. Pearline is bitten and begs Sammy to flee. In a final confrontation, Sammy smashes his guitar over the vampire Remick's head before Smoke arrives just in time to kill him with the stake. As the sun rises, the vampire horde is incinerated. Urging Sammy to flee, Smoke ambushes and kills Hogwood and the clan, but is himself mortally wounded. Before dying, he witnesses a vision of Annie and their daughter. Sammy, battered and grief-stricken, returns to his father's church. Jedediah pleads with him to renounce the music and seek salvation. Sammy is seen leaving the church with his guitar in hand. Of course, he's driving north to Chicago. 60 years later, an ageless Stack and Mary, the vampire and the half-breed folk looking in today's clothing, right? Visit elderly Sammy, now a celebrated blues musician in Chicago. Stack reveals that Smoke spared him that night at the joint, allowing him to go free under the condition that Sammy would live in peace. The couple offers Sammy a chance at immortality, a chance to be a vampire, but he declines. After performing for the couple, Sammy tells them that through that fateful night still haunts him until the sun went down. It was the greatest day of his life. Stack agrees, noting it was the last time he saw Smoke, it's the last time he saw the sun, and the only time he felt truly free. And that's how the film ends. Now, I gave you what they said. Now, what did I get out of it? First and foremost, the film was well shot. All the film stuff at the cotton fields and stuff down south, all was like cool. because I'm a Southerner. It's interesting. I've been to Mississippi many times, you know, and you see stuff. Uh, the characters, all the stuff is interesting. But the issues that I have with the film, one, uh, again, I'm a Christian. I'm a Bible believing Black American Christian. And I don't give a damn for all of you that think that that shit's passe, because that's the foundation to our culture, whether you like it or not. And anyone that pretends that the church and gospel music and spirituals don't have anything to do with Black life, you're just fucking stupid. You're a moron. You're a traitor to your culture, your history. And, well, for me as a Christian, you're going to hell. This whole God stuff has a place. You can't tell me to save my life that you could be in the Delta of Mississippi and not see one image of a white Jesus, not one image of the Last Supper, not one image of Jesus praying in Gethsemane, not one mention or reference to Jesus, not one cross on somebody's neck, practically anything, all the iconography that goes with being in the Bible Belt and the buckle of the Bible Belt is completely missing in the film. There's all kinds of shit about hoodoo. There's all kinds of stuff about, I mean, the lady doing the spells and the potions and shit. Excuse me, for any of you, maybe you folks born after, say, 1995 or 2000, you guys don't really have a clear idea when we had something of a viable culture, which we don't have right now. We have a death culture. When we had a living culture, with all due respect, alongside popular music concerts, they competed with gospel music concert programs. It's just not historical to remove gospel music and spirituals and only have the blues down in the Delta. You can't know what the fuck you're talking about. That there's no, I mean, it's just one church. I'm sorry. I've lived in Virginia and rural Charlottesville, and I've lived in Tennessee, and that's the Deep South. You have churches every damn where. Even hypocritical people talk about God and have Bibles and go to church on Sunday, even if they don't believe in any of it. It is a culture. This whole film acts as if they're, that Christianity, the church going for Black people, is the fringe, and the norm is all the people in the juke joint. That isn't so. It's never been so. Those people have always been marginal in Black culture, but in this film, the Black people that drink and have oral sex on the first date are the norm. There's not one representation of people that are not drinking, fighting, stealing, or just kind of shiftless. It all seems as if we're all like those folks in that picture on Marvin Gaye's album, I Want You, where just everybody's out boogieing. That is some of Black culture. Okay. When I say to you, coming up as a holiness type person, you couldn't even listen to popular music. It didn't exist. And a lot of Black people live like that. All this Kojic Church You Got in Crisis stuff comes out of damn Mississippi, where you don't even listen to music that's popular. You get kicked out of your family if you went to this stuff. Period. No discussion. Nobody begged you to not play your blues guitar. You get your ass out of my house and don't go to any other people because you're playing the devil's music. That's it. Period. This idea that people, like, there's no concept of I can slam a Bible shut in front of my pastor father when I still live in his house in his church and play a blues guitar in a church. Yeah, that shit's crazy. I understand they're making a movie, but that isn't our culture. You couldn't diss your mother or father uh, in a church. Just do it. Nah, you get the shit kicked out of you. It would never happen, and no one would beg you to give up. They would take and break the damn guitar. I mean, a lot of folks, you would have just run away from the very get-go. You don't go back and forth between blues. You would be out of the house. When we used to have black family order before, all the little shiftless women that pick stupid ass men to make bastards with tried to have families without men. There used to be a thing. Your father told you to do something. Your ass did it. That's it. Period. Not your father has to beg you. What? Your father. Ask somebody that's old if someone told them to do something when they were a minor child living in somebody's house and them decide they're not going to do it, hang out when they want to. I don't know of any stories like that. If you decided to take your ass out in the street and do crooked stuff that the family, your ass was out and stay out. And nobody in the family want to touch you. Maybe you go up north. You couldn't hang around a local thing and that's not going to happen. There are other things in the film that aren't realistic. For a black man to pull out a gun downtown in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and shoot two people and not get lynched, as one of the characters did, I get them confused which one is Stack and which one is Smoke. But for one of them, I think with the gold teeth, to shoot that person, shoot a person in the behind and shoot another person in the leg downtown, and then not be a mob of white folks that come after you because they didn't like black people owning guns. If you had a gun, you kept it in your house. If you had a gun hanging out, that's seen as a challenge to white folks to come and burn you out for having a gun. Even if they knew you had it, you don't flaunt it. Also, if you had a real fancy car, you can't drive around no back roads in Mississippi, go around. They want, nigga, how'd you get that car? Where'd you get that car from? Can you prove you own it? Where'd you buy it from? How'd you buy it? They do that now. 90 years ago, I got a really nice car and I got super nice clothes. You don't know that they used to kill black people for having nice clothes? Y'all didn't know there used to be laws on the books? They're still on there. There's sumptuary laws embedded in many states of how black people can dress. If you look too prosperous, they come and take it from you. So for you to flaunt all this money and you got this nice car and all this stuff, I understand that's the story, but it isn't consistent with history down there. I've been down Mississippi within the last 10 years. You still have to be careful. There was a black man within this year that left some trash on the ground outside of a white shop, and the police beat him to death this year. And they can shoot someone downtown. They can threaten to kill a grand dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. And them not show up, not like that night, not wait for them, take their money and lynch them any damn way, which is the way it used to be. I'm not saying not to make your movie, but for all you young black folks, if you go and see it and you think that this film represents any social reality, you're crazy. Let me just explain something to you. Aside from there being like almost no religious stuff whatsoever, and when they go into church, I mean, you only saw young people, you didn't see any adults. It's not like that now down south. I mean, 90 years ago, it would have been full of adults. Number two, you don't just walk in a church and approach the pulpit while service is going on. That's not You can't do that. You wouldn't do it now. You would sit down and wait for someone to acknowledge you, not just walk in. That's the ultimate disrespect. Somebody would put hands on you. The whole representation, a lot of stuff they got in the culture, and this whole hoodoo thing, let me be plain with you. People who practice root work and hoodoo tend to keep that stuff hidden. They're not flaunting. They're not typically, except when they're really old. Typically, these people will mix that stuff. That woman would have had a whole church covering. They would have done what's called syncretism, where you have some Bible stuff. You would be matching stuff up to make it seem as if it's Christian, because a lot of that hoodoo stuff wasn't tolerated. You could get in trouble, put in jail. People would come for you. It wasn't. It's never been fully legitimate. It has been something that's been treated carefully. You do it without outraging people. You don't flaunt it that I do and I got spirits and cast spells and shit. People don't. That stuff's not cool. Definitely not with holiness people. Don't like that. I mean, folk will be after you for doing it. Black and white people don't like it. And folk may come and burn your house down if you're wicked like that. I'm real talk. That, a horse of mine or a cow or a kid of mine sick, and this root working bitch across, we need to burn her ass out. They come and get you. So right now, for all the ignorant black folks that hate Jesus Christ and the Bible, and y'all want to go back and find some shit in Africa that Africans are getting rid of, they're all becoming Muslim or Christian. They're quitting the shit because it doesn't work. I'm not saying that they don't have some plants, all that stuff, herbs and all that stuff. I take it myself. I love them. But this whole other deities and gods and people praying to them and all this other kind of stuff, you don't flaunt that stuff. You got to be careful with that. People don't like that. I mean, they had Salem witch trials where they were killing white kids in America in the 1600s over a black woman that taught folk how to do some voodoo. You don't just roll with that just because you think you can do it. That's not reality. Even now, when people believe that, if they're really smart, you don't jump out there and do that certain places because some people don't approve of it. And I've been around hoodoo and voodoo. And the people that did voodoo or hoodoo, should I say, in my dad's church kept it down. They didn't flaunt it because a lot of people don't like it. That's the devil's work. It's like there's a devil's music, it's a devil's workers. And back in the day, people would come after you. If you're the devil's person, you're my enemy. I just want to beat your ass in Jesus' name. Run you out. I'm saying to you, coming up Pentecostal, a lot of Pentecostals were seen as being the same as hoodoo or voodoo, where people literally beat you up, throw you up, fire you from a job if people found out you were one. You don't make people know that your religious beliefs and conducts aren't in the mainstream. It's not acceptable. And I'm going to tell you a place in this country where people don't like nonconformity. It's the South. It's yes, sir. To this day, go down to Tennessee, Mississippi, and other places, and folks are saying yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, now. I mean, for me to talk to an older white man or to an older black person and not say Mrs., ma'am, ma, sir, that's not even real. That's not even Southern culture, not 90 years ago. And I can assure you, when I was in Tennessee and in Mississippi, that wasn't true 10 years ago. And I know people from down there, that's not how they get down. You better show some respect to older people, and you better show some respect to white people. The other thing, for this woman, Annie, to have a sexual conversation with the black man at some place like a railroad station where you didn't even have the proper delineation and separation of the races. For a white woman and a black man to be looking at each other's eyes could get a black man killed. I'm Emmett Till's distant cousin. They were killing people in the 50s. What the hell you think they would have done in the 1930s? A black man looking in a white woman's eyes And it looks, and even if the black man didn't want the attention, they'd string his ass up on general principle. That's not real. That's not real for a black man to talk about a white woman's body in public where it could be heard. It's not real for Negroes to drink bootleg liquor and wine and whiskey in eyesight of white folks who could be law enforcement that could put their asses on a chain gang. They look for reasons to enslave black folks. Not real. Stylized for today's audience, but it isn't who we are, where we've been. So I'm going to say the film looks nice. I love the cotton fields. I love the roads, all that. It's beautiful. It's like The Color Purple had lots of great scenery. But a lot of the stuff that they put out there isn't historically or socially accurate. And the danger of it is so many of you don't read. So many of you don't know what the fuck is going on, where we've been, or where we're going. You'll think that that's the way people got down, and they didn't. I want to also say, how in the hell could you have 2 hours and 38 minutes and not one full or half or partial gospel or spiritual song, or just someone walking down the street like I've seen people do? Almost as if there was no place for the Christian sacred culture, which is the dominant culture for black people. It didn't exist. All of the black folks were compromised. Even the preacher father, he's intolerant. And by the way, the intolerant, strict, unfair Christian pastor father is almost looks like a devil. He's totally dark-skinned and sinister with a scary look. Not a loving, caring father, but a hateful, wrathful, demanding father. And I could go on, and I can say, back in Mississippi, folks are just having oral sex without washing in a juke joint. I want to taste you. And folk lying all over the stage and all this, and that you could have an adulterous relationship in a juke joint with a married man's wife and someone not come to kill your ass. If you know anything about Mississippi, even now, you mess with someone down there, someone will come kill you. This is absolutely normal. What are they talking about? They're moving today's values and all back 90 years where they don't apply. To me, you can still do the science fiction adventure, but be true to what was there, which does not happen. So there's no God, there's no gospel or spiritual or any of that. There's not one stable, wholesome, non-criminal, low-life black family person. All this extramarital sex and so forth, which of course happened then, but the only real family that you see, honestly, is the Klansmen had a family and the racist Chinese had a family. The black dude that's in the cotton field that can't take care of his family, the one that was the bouncer, let me get his damn name. He had a family, he couldn't feed him, so he had to get involved in illegal shit to take care of his Omar Miller, who was cornbread. So cornbread can't take care of his family, so he has to get involved in this. And this description I read here is that they opened up a juke joint for the black community. This wasn't for the black community. This was for Smoke and his brother, right? Smoke and Stack, right? To get paid, to draw black folks into a cash economy where they are buying cheap liquor and other things to take the few pennies that they were earning from the plantations for them to get rich because they couldn't function in Chicago, which is what the black elite do. Make it seem as if they're going to do something for black folks and it's only about themselves. To hold that up, that this is for the black community, that you have a place for folk to drink and get down. Not that I'm against music or against dancing, but drunkenness and fighting and all this stuff. How is that helpful to us in a repressive place like the Delta of Mississippi, where black folks would get murdered randomly, picked up all the time? I was watching a video of a friend of mine, a journalist by the name of Sam Ford, interviewing a gentleman that is in his 80s who's still a photojournalist. I'm talking about being in Mississippi growing up and just walking down the road, and some white folks come by in a car and just bust him in the head with a stick. This is, I mean, and I know about stuff. People just drive by and throw stuff at you because you're black. And God, I'm 60. This guy's got 80, got 20 some odd years, and I'm up here. Doesn't just do anything to you. It was an absolute norm. Absolutely normal down south for things to happen to you, and you hope it. You know what? Like the guy said, when he got busted in the head with the stick, he was glad they didn't hit him in the eye. That's how black folks had to do stuff. Hope, thank God they didn't kill me, because nothing would have been done about it. And if you know anything about the blues, people definitely would not be doing blues into Sunday morning. You would probably end up because folk are going to go to church. I'm just saying, you can't have it both ways. And that's not real. I'm going to say some more about this film. The woman, the character Pearline, the singer, who's married, that lets someone like go down on her on that second encounter. Then there's another person, Sammy, what's this guy? Sammy Moore. He's the guitar player. He looks just like the woman he likes, right? Pearline. They could be sister and brother. It looked like some incest. Didn't they think about that? The other thing I want to mention to you is Miles Caton, who played Preacher Boy. That whole thing made fun of that boy's father wanting him to do right. And none of them wanted to go to Mound Bayou or some other place where black folks were functional. They wanted to do it the stupid way. Now, of course, the vampires were horrible and all the gore and all this other kind of stuff. All right. The thing that was interesting to me is that Asians don't hang with black people. I'm not mad at Asians. Just say, no, Asians hang with black people. Where that idea came from doesn't make sense. But ultimately, it's the Asians that invited the vampires in because she wanted to save the Asians. That's true, how they only care about themselves. And by the way, we don't care about ourselves. That's why that bitch was in there, to get them messed up in the first place. That lesson's not being told. Now, they get through all of this, and when the vampire's about to bite Sammy Moore, he begins, and this is the thing that really got me, to say the Lord's Prayer. And then all of the vampires started saying the Lord's Prayer as to mock him, as if God is powerless. I want to say something to some of you, especially you unbelieving, godless folk out there. I know from personal experience and watching, people pronounced dead and everything else, and folks have gone in and prayed for them, and people have been revived. Okay? I want to remind everybody, my mother was supposed to die 2 weeks ago. The doctors told me. More than 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. It's just a matter of days. And we were praying. Okay, now it's weeks later. My mother's walking around, hair growing back, got a wig, entertaining guests. Didn't go to church today, but probably will go next week. The power of prayer. How dare people trivialize the spiritual access that our people have had? Nothing else. When you're surrounded by traitor, boule, sellout, wannabe, cynical, backstabbing black folk, coons, and racists and tethers. All you had was prayer and God. But in this film, the devils aren't even impressed by God. Bullshit. Bullshit. And anybody, and I know many of folk in tight situations couldn't find anything, got down and bowed their damn heads and asked, and it worked out for them. That's how we made it when there was nothing else, when banks wouldn't lend to us, when you couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything, you talked to God. For them to tell the audience that talking and asking God for intervention is of no use is sacrilege. It's disgraceful. It's the worst thing you could ever tell people, that there's nothing to your belief in God, but there is something to hoodoo and vampires and doing whatever the fuck you want to do. That's insane. But that's what that film does. And then, of course, the most satisfying part of the film is, on the other hand, just as problematic. You got a situation where, what's this dude? Because I get them confused because they're two twins. Which one is one that shoots up everybody at the end? Who's the one that ambushes them? Hold on one second. Smoke. Smoke, who is the surviving brother who doesn't become the vampire, and it's stacked it is. He basically wipes out like maybe 2 or 3 dozen Ku Klux Klansmen. And it's satisfying to see a lot of racist people get punished, I must admit. It felt good. I mean, that could have been the whole film for me. But I also know social reality. I also know, because I have a book right up here called We Will Shoot Back, that talks about black folks defending themselves in Mississippi, and one black man fighting back, and white folks hunting him down. Thousands of white men looking for one black who shot at one white person. Where's my book I had, Without Sanctuary? It's in here. Lynchings, as many as 50,000 white folks would show up to kill one black person. They'd come in by chartered trains to kill black people. All on the telegraph and radio to let people know. The Black Wall Street, the decision to destroy the black people was published in the newspaper. They had planes to bomb them. That was coordinated. They had a master plan for destroying that black community. They had a master plan for Rosewood. They had a master plan for Coney, Florida. They had a master plan for East St. Louis. Someone black shot back, one white person injured in East St. Louis. They killed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of black people. They burnt like up to 100 city blocks because one white got shot. Close to that time, this 1932. Hold on. Let me get this thing. The Helena, Arkansas, which is in the Arkansas Delta. Let me see. Distance. I'm going to find out. Distance. I'm going to tell you something. Y'all work with me. Distance of Helena, I'm going to tell you something. Give me 1 second. Let me tell you how deep this is. Helena, Arkansas is 33 miles from Clarksdale, Mississippi, people. It's 29.6 minutes by car. It's 33 miles. Why am I bringing it up? Because I want you to understand something. Because, see, this film is putting some social realism in your head that ain't real. Y'all don't realize how close these places are in the Delta. Helena, Arkansas, I'm going to put in race. Happened in 1919. Near Helena, Arkansas, is a city called Elaine. September 30th, 1919. Black folks were simply trying to get, September 30th through October 2nd, 1919. In the vicinity of Elaine, a rural area in Phillips County, Arkansas. African Americans were organizing against peonage, another word for slavery, and abuses in tenant farming. As many as several hundred African Americans and 5 white men were killed. Estimates of the death made the immediate aftermath of the Elaine massacre by eyewitnesses range from 50 to more than 100. Let me read some more. Walter Francis White, an NAACP attorney who visited Elaine shortly after the incident, stated 25 Negroes killed, although some place the Negro fatality is as high as 100. More recent estimates in the 21st century of the number of black people killed during this violence are higher than estimates provided by the eyewitnesses and have ranged into the hundreds. White mobs were aided by federal troops requested by Arkansas's Governor Charles Hillman Breaux and local terrorist organizations. Governor Breaux led a contingent of 583 U.S. soldiers from Camp Pike with a 12-gun machine gun battalion. The number of blacks killed could be as many as 1,000 because black folks simply wanted to not be treated like slaves and get a fair price for their cotton. And white folks called them communists, and they mass murdered black people. The number of 1,000 is as good a number as 100 because black life didn't matter. White folk attacked black people in a church. Someone allegedly shot back, and they killed maybe 1,200. They killed everybody black that they could find was killed. Men, women, children. Machine gunned. 1919. Before 1932, 30 miles from Clarksdale, Mississippi. Are you understanding me? The army came in and mass murdered black people. How many people do you think 580 soldiers can kill if it's men, women, and children, largely unarmed? Do you think anyone cares? The army was used to kill black people in East St. Louis in 1917, 2 years prior. Soldiers were used on black people in other places. Excuse me? So you're going to jump out and be Mr. Black, big and bad with the Tommy gun and grenades and blow away about 30 some odd white men, and they're going to just take that? And they're not going to set the entire black portions of Clarksdale and the surrounding areas alight? Anyone remotely connected, assumed connected, would be killed, would have been murdered, man, woman, child. When they burned East St. Louis, they burned people alive in a movie theater, maybe 200 people. Did anyone white get convicted? No, no, never. Did anyone get killed for all the people that were slaughtered after Hurricane Katrina occurred? They don't know how many blacks were killed. There's no discussion. That's recent. That's been in 20 years in our lifetime. White folk came out with guns to keep black people from escaping. They shot and killed and went around killing black folks. Nobody got in trouble. That's recent. In a big urban black predominant city called New Orleans. Now, you're going to tell me in Mississippi 90 years ago that someone can machine gun and grenade and mass kill white men and their families and everybody not come and punish everybody black remotely connected in any way to it? Come on, Ryan Coogler. Good film. But I hope no stupid young black folks who don't read take it seriously that you can just go and shoot at white folks and there not be retaliation against everybody black. People don't even know about it. People don't even know what's going on. If you remember the O.J. Simpson trial, I worked in media. I got so much hate. I mean, I'm not OJ. It's across the country. Never met or don't know. These folk want to kill you over something they see on television. Y'all don't know how much people hate us? That they'll kill you over something that happened in another country. They're mad at you. They're looking at you like you did it. You think that could happen in Mississippi? That someone could just pull out a machine gun and just mow down white folks, even if it felt good? That there wouldn't be consequences for the surround. Everybody in the black community would be paying for it. Has that happened? Yes. There have been massacres all over the South. They've not been well documented. The United States government didn't even take the time to detail in real numbers all the blacks being murdered all over the South between 1864 and 1868. Actually, 69. They were just killing them. White folks would go and push the black person. They push back, pull out a gun, and just start shooting everyone black. This happened in Memphis. This happened in New Orleans. This happened all over the country. It happened in Arkansas. They would burn up men, women, and children. This is the history of the South. This is a history that old people don't even talk about it. They keep it quiet because it's so bad. It's just not worth talking about. What are you going to do? Massacres of black people at Milliken's Bend during the Civil War, massacres in Florida at Olustee, massacres in Virginia at the Battle of the Crater, massacre of blacks at Fort Pillow, where they just killed black folks, even when they surrendered, mass murdered them in uniform, and almost no punishment. These things happen. Black people were 25% of the population of Kentucky in 1864. Within a short period of time, thousands of black people driven out of Kentucky. Basically, they left or they were burnt out. White folk came, guns, horses, split. And some black people had their hands cut off so they couldn't work for anyone else. That's the Deep South. Now, I have a master's degree in study of race relations in the South. Okay, from the University of Virginia. I'm ABD. I'm no dummy. I look at that and I say, I don't mind. I mean, it was cool watching folk get gunned down, but you would have had to have shown something to counter because white folk wouldn't have let that go. White folks are vengeful. They don't forgive. They don't forget. And in fact, they will invent something and hate you for something that didn't even happen and try to punish you for it. I'm not saying be afraid. I'm not saying don't fight back. I'm simply saying if you're going to do a representation of black life and you call yourself FBA, then damn it, get it right. And it seems like you can have some historians, just like you had the damn people that work root work and hoodoo and voodoo, should have had some people like me to say, oh, you can't do it quite like that. You would probably need some white folks to help fight these people so it's not just the black-white thing. And even if you had white folk help you, they'd be nigger lovers and they'd come after them. So what I'll say to you about, also about the film Sinners, is in reality, the people in the church that weren't drinking and drugging, they were mostly kids all dressed in white, which is bullshit. Look, if you've ever lived in some place like Charlottesville or someplace in the South where the soil is red, it's very hard to keep your shoes clean. You're not going to wear white pants because of the soil will stain and ruin the clothes. There'll never be enough bleach because those clothes change. It changes the color even of your dungarees. That's why people wear dungarees. Clothes that are resistant to the soils changing the color, that you can wash dungarees and it doesn't look as like you can't get the dirt out. That's one of the reasons you wear them. Nobody's going to wear all white clothes, especially kids, the way they get dirty. Parents would have beat their kids half to death all the time. They'd have to wash all the dirt off. It's a good film. It's a start, but he's a young man. And I'm saying this about a lot of younger black folks. A lot of y'all don't know shit. You're really good with the computers and technical stuff and applications, but you don't have the historical social content. And you don't want it. A lot of times, everything is, oh, they're old niggas. Well, one, it's like I was talking to a young person that's 21, and they don't fucking read. So it's real basic shit they should know if they were a regular reader. They don't know. I mean, they may know how to do this, know how to do that. They know all these things they can do, but they don't have any content. That's one of the reasons I read books, to give people evidence, facts, dates, persons, sources to look at. And why I'm going to talk about this, and that's why I took the time to get these books. This is an ex-library book. That's why you see the little thing there, and I didn't steal it. I bought it. I just took the thing off because I didn't want it. What the libraries are doing all over this country, people, is they're destroying black history. What the libraries do when their budgets are cut and this, that, and the other, and they're looking for ways to raise money, they sell off the black materials that they don't want in the library any damn way, and they can get good money. Because there are a lot of old books that you can get on black Americans, if you know anything about books. Like this book, Africa in America. Doesn't look like much to you, but it's a $200 book. I didn't pay $200 for it. I know how to buy. But it's a book about black people. Books used to be less expensive, especially about us, and what they've done is made the price of books for black people prohibitive. Show you another book I got recently. I'm very happy about it. Race and Culture in the Modern World by E. Franklin Frazier. Thank God this isn't an ex-library book, but somebody let it go. And it's a good book. It talks about race and all kinds of stuff all over the world. E. Franklin Frazier being a great sociologist that was at Howard, who wrote the Black Bourgeoisie, among other books. I was able to get this, I think, reasonably inexpensively. So you wonder why I always ask people for donations. Let me try to make certain I can get my hands on it. I had never owned this. This is E. Franklin Frazier, one of the very first major studies in the black family, the Negro family in the United States by E. Franklin Frazier. If you know how to buy, you might get it for $50. If you're stupid, they'll charge you up to $300, $400 for this book. A lot of black classic literature material are being purged out of libraries and sold because people who understand the value of our history will pay for it. Black books are like gold because there's usually not many. Folks are hostile to our history and our culture. Therefore, this almost is forbidden literature. Another one. This is another lucky to get this. You can pay up to $400-$500 for this book. I think I paid less than that, but this is an old book. Negroes in American Society. One of the old classics. A lot of these, and newer books, they're all sold out. The people don't want the books in the library. You get a racist librarian. They want to do something for their budget. They say, you know what? Sell off all the nigger shit. Fuck them. And they sell off all the books on black people. And they end up in the hands of private people, which means if you don't buy books, you won't find them. I can say to you that my mother, God bless her, where we lived in Virginia, They didn't have any books on black people in the library except for Little Black Sambo. Really, really racist ass plantation melodies, books that made fun of black people. It was wild. My mother had to fight those white holes in there to get relevant books on black people. I have another ex-library book. This I may have shown you. This is The Negro in Chicago. It's about the Chicago race massacre where the white people tried to exterminate the blacks in Chicago, and the black people fought back. And by the way, that's one of the reasons the state of Illinois has very strict gun laws. It's because when the whites went in to mass kill the black people in the summer of 1919, the black people, once they realized white folks were after them, the black folks got out their guns, and even though they were outnumbered, blacks may have been 3-4% of the population of Chicago, armies of white community gangs that went to attack black folks got their asses kicked. And then they changed the laws so black people couldn't have weapons to protect themselves from white terror. That's in Chicago. That's up north where Sammy Moore is trying to get from Mississippi. Before he even gets there, they don't want black people to have, it's here in the book, they don't want black people to have so many clubs or whatever, because they found black folks who went to clubs and all, and black criminals tend to be the people who would fight back. Again, that's because a lot of coon preachers teach people that everybody is their friend, and our black churches have been getting the shit burnt out of them for 160 years, 170 years. Come on, y'all. Actually, going back to Jacksonian era, 200 years of them burning black houses of worship in this country. And these nigga preachers tell you everybody's your friend. It's not so. Love neighbor as self, but I love me enough to kick your ass if you put your hands on me. I love you enough to check your ass if you're out of order. Somebody say amen. This, I was lucky to get this Negro in Chicago, depending on, up to $1,200 for this book. They don't do that with the white books. It's just our stuff. It's being priced out of the range of black folks to afford it. And stupid ass people like Diddy and Shannon, who's that? Is it Shannon, asshole Sharp, spent all that money on this stupid ass white girl that didn't want his ugly black ass in the first place. Probably has a bunch of white boys pimping her to him. They don't support black literature or knowledge or studies, right? Okay, good. There's somebody, one of the people that's trying to like be, go away. I don't want you. There's certain people that try to hang around. I'm not fighting for people to be here. I'm not doing something that I don't have a whole bunch of special effects. I could do it. I'm not trying to. But our history, people that think, I got this book. I never thought I'd own it. Black and Conservative, George Schuyler, a black person went from being revolutionary on the left to becoming anti-black. He's one of the early black conservatives who sort of like, long before you could even have somebody like Clarence Thomas, you had George Schuyler, who used to argue against Malcolm X and get embarrassed. This kind of material, alongside destroying a people, you destroy their literature. Remember that before they gassed the Jews, they burnt up their books, they removed their information, their history. These kinds of things are happening now. And even if they say, okay, it's Trump, okay, but you don't see the damn Democratic white people or the other people stopping it, meaning that they have it both ways, right? And, we're not going to do that. Are y'all following me? So, and at the end of the film, as it said, you've got Stack and Annie, who are basically demonic vampires that live on forever miserably, and they run into Mr. Moore, Sammy Moore in Chicago, and he still has the slash in his face from being scratched by the vampire, whatever, and so forth. Um, what you get out of that is evil has no checks. Evil is it lives into infinity, and good is subject to evil. That's a terrible message to say to people, that there is no hope for things to get better. And like when Sammy goes and his father's begging him after seeing all the horrors in the juke joint, and his father's begging him to come back to God, please, I need you. He runs away from his father, go off to Chicago to play blues to white people. And in reality, what the film centers is that the sin of the people in the church is that they don't allow self-deification, because Sammy says he felt great when the devils all loved his music and everybody was listening to him. That was the best day in his life. Glorification of self instead of deification of God. The people in the church that deify God are repressive losers. And the people that deify self, they're the winners. That's a satanic Luciferian message that film communicates. And maybe you believe that, and maybe you think there is no good or no evil. And if there is no good or no evil, then there's no such thing as racism, and suck up all the bullshit that you get from people that hate you, because there's no such thing as hate. Relativism was created by GCP, leftists, and so forth, who don't like the Bible. In fact, relativism says that an ass is a pussy and a pussy is an ass. And a vagina is a dick and a dick is a vagina. You can't be opposed to some of the shit you don't like and be a relativist. So you're for pedophilia, sodomy, having sex with animals, and Satanism, or you're not. And this is sort of where a lot of black folks are you're just moral, ethical clusterfucks. You don't have any principles or anything that you stake or you stand on. You're weak. How are you going to resist people who have strong cultures and strong ideas, like white supremacists and Korean supremacists and Zionist supremacists and all the other people that are nationalistic that have their ideas that you can't change or mend, and your ass is so flexible you're all over the place fighting for everyone else and you don't stand for yourself? And you're running after African cultural stuff that Africans don't want, thinking that's going to make you whole. In fact, I'm going to say something else that pissed me off about the film. They showed some damn Choctaw Indians in there, but the Choctaw Indians look like Plains Indians. They didn't look like Choctaw Indians I've seen. They were the Indians looked like Sioux or Apache. I mean, not even the dark Apaches, to make certain that they didn't look anything like some of the Indians I know that look like Black Americans. So Mr. Coogler continued this thing and they had this scene where all these people are dancing in the burning juke joint, and it's all these people from Africa, and they're doing stuff. And that stupid ass guy that played the harmonica says everything comes from Africa. It is a lie, friends. I like Africa and Africans. I can't wait. When my mother's well enough, the whole purpose of this year, I plan to spend some time to go and visit friends in Africa all over. Not getting to do that right now. Had to spend money on other stuff to stay alive. So there's nothing but love for Africa, the good ones. But there's plenty of shit that's been made here by us, for us, and only us. And Mr. Coogler misses that point. That's a crime too. And the kind of Christianity that would produce a Nat Turner or Martin Luther King or Frederick Douglass or Adam Clayton Powell. By the way, Adam Clayton Powell Sr.'s Christianity influenced Dietrich Bonhoeffer, seen as one of the greatest European pastors of all times to stand up to Hitler, was sitting up in Abyssinia Baptist Church in New York, soaking it all up. Or for that matter, the writer of the Indian Constitution, Baba Sahib Rao Ambedkar, sitting up in Harlem, going to Abyssinia Baptist Church, goes back to fight the caste system in India and write their constitution, watching the NAACP and black folks, we created something here that's dynamic worldwide. Mr. Coogler's ass needs to study as well as he can shoot a film and get it funded. I'm sick and tired of the Aboriginal presence in America being ignored. I have no issue with embracing Africa. Unlike some of these other people that are pretendians, I found people who are African, even if they have no name, on the records when you do it genealogically, that these people are from Africa. And it's not everybody, but it's some people. I'm named for a black Indian. Okay, I don't use the name. And these people were not from Africa, and the dude didn't like people that were really black. I I don't like it. I'm just telling you. Uh so this is foolish. Now, these people are Indian and they're mixed with uh they're mixed. Some people from Europe, some people that are here in America, some people from Africa. We're a blend of all of it. It should not be that we have to act as if everybody came here from Africa. When I've seen people that look like they're from Iceland screaming about Africa, and I'm not knocking them, I'm only saying that not everybody in your family is from Africa the way you look. When are we going to be honest about that? Uh, And it's interesting that we can like have a massacre of white men, or should say a self-defensive situation where you mow down a whole bunch of white men in fantasy, but we can't embrace the reality of the diversity of our gene pool and the uniqueness of us being a cosmopolitan blend of people unique to the United States. And we've impacted the whole world. Okay. And I'm not dependent on somebody in Africa to teach me how to sing or dance. Nobody in Africa did that. I've been all over in Africa. And if you've ever heard some terrible singing, I'm telling you, average white person here sings better than a whole bunch of people in Africa. That shit blew my mind how a whole bunch of Africans can't sing and don't do it well. It's like, I asked me to go to your church. No, I would make certain. Can the people in your church sing worth a damn? You don't have a long praise service. I don't want to hear the horrible Africans that can't sing on key and off pitch. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. There's no way that people sing fucked up like that created the music that's here. It doesn't add up. So people from there with that fucked up music got a change, in particular the Christian influence, the hymnody, and some of the stuff that came over from Moors and other people like Beethoven and Tosca and other people, blended with this Aboriginal American stuff and created this synthesis here. It didn't all come over from Africa. Stop handing. You complain about Elvis, who never claimed to make rock and roll music. He ain't the king of rock. I hate Elvis. Elvis Presley didn't hate black people. Yet there are tethers that hate black people that claim everything we have, and we love them. It's amazing. Elvis Presley always said it's black people's music. It comes from the church. It comes from the church. No matter what, always told the truth. Elvis Presley's a monster, but when an African or Caribbean lies and says something that we made is theirs, sometimes you get hurt a little bit, but you say this is right. False attribution is false attribution, whether Africans or Caribbeans or whites do it. Let's treat everybody fair. Let's cut ourselves into our own legacy by being honest about our history, our past, our present, and what our potential is. And if you want to make a science fiction film in which black folk conquer white people, which you'll never get funding from the GCPs in Hollywood, then you do it. But don't try to make it seem as if there's some social reality to black folks just shooting up a bunch of white people. And Django, sort of, but anybody know anything about the Civil War? They were killing black people and continue to kill black people to this day. If you do something to them, they're coming for you. They're not like black people that forgive what white people do to them, but can't forget stuff real and imagine that black folk have done to them, like mistaken identities, folk killing people because I thought you were someone. So I will give the film, minus its ahistorical characteristics, its cultural omissions, which are egregious. I will give the film an A for being entertaining. I will give the cinematography an A. I will give it mostly A's, but I'm going to give them a C minus for some of the cultural things. And frankly, I've noticed all these black films to get all the funding always diminish getting the culture right. Like in The New Color Purple, that you can just go up and buy ice cream from an ice cream person. They're not going to hand no nigga in their hand no ice cream cone. I mean, come on, Oprah. Y'all had to know that. And they had an African dude whose name was Blitz make this fake ass film that's not even based in reality. What's wrong with reality? Are we so ashamed and we feel we're so weak we can't change anything that now we've got to be into fantasy like white folks imagine that Cleopatra's white and Jesus is white and Shaka Zulu's white? Are we that stupid, that weak, that we can't confront? Because if you can't confront what really happened, then you're not prepared to take on those things that are ahead, that may happen, that are likely to recur in a pattern if you never deal with what was. I'm Dr. Randy Short saying, see the film Sinners with a critical eye, enjoy it for all the good aspects, but never forget, foundational Black Americans have Indian heritage considerably. There's a very strong Christian component that is dominant. Hoodoo and all these other little bone and chicken bone type shit, chicken killing shit, cards and oils and shit, is marginal compared to the Christian influence and presence in our lives. And lastly, we're deeply hated people. Chinese and folks don't blend with us because they don't want to. And white folks absolutely wouldn't be trying to go to a black juke joint in the middle of the night. They would have just attacked it as soon as go to it. And anyone black hurting white folk in an egregious way, even imagine if there was a threat of it, there would be mass retaliation because white people are armed to the teeth. Going back to the 1790s for these rules around militias and guns. This was all about killing us if necessary. It is hardwired and hard baked into the culture. Last but not least, music in the South. All of American music comes out of the Negro spiritual, the Jubilee, the shout song, the work song. All this stuff is Christian based or influenced. Blues comes from religious music. It does not emerge independent of it. It is a derivative. It's garbage to not show that. It's sacrilegious to pretend that it's not there. It's like saying Dr. Martin Luther King, and what was his damn vocation? He was a preacher. Well, what does that mean? Duh. He's a church person. Even if his pants weren't zipped up, his Bible was open. And spiritually speaking, demons and devils are not more powerful than God. Anyone presenting that point of view is Luciferian. And that would explain why folk would give you $90 million to tell people that the devil is greater than God. Many people worship Lucifer. Many of them have a religious group that many people consider aligned with Christianity, and it isn't. If you wonder why there's always a strong anti-Christian thing in black films that you see, consider who funds and greenlights it. And it seems as if the same people that have contaminated the music, that have brought drugs into our neighborhood and alcohol and everything else, also introduced Luciferianism and feminism and baby killing. It's the same people. Open your damn eyes. I'm signing out. I'm going to come back and do reading. I just wanted to do this review. It's an hour and 37 minutes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave these other channels up, and I'm going to knock off my main ones. And yeah, I'll leave this one on. And by the way, moderators, anybody that says anything stupid, I don't want to see them again. I'm trying to educate. Now, if you have any questions, questions. Otherwise, if there's not, I'm going to get into doing some reading. I got my board. I'm very excited about that. I have my book. I want to read this. This is so good to me. Ah, I got a couple really good ones, and that's next. So if you guys are willing to give me 5 minutes, who's gonna give me 5 to 10 minutes? I'm gonna simply put up another stream because I'm gonna do another program. Is that okay? Can y'all treat me white? Okay. I'm gonna shut this down, and I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna lead in with some of this book here, Lynchings of Women in the United States. Recorded cases 1851, 1946. And please note that most lynching victims in America that were female were black. The feminists won't tell you this. Black women disproportionately represent the women lynched, disproportionately number the women that are in prison, disproportionately number the women that are raped in the army, disproportionately homeless. Black women don't get any equity out of this damn feminist movement. Any black woman running around calling herself a feminist is a goddamn idiot. Quote me. You're a stupid ass, baby killing, pussy licking idiot. I don't care if you disagree. Even if you don't do it, your fellow traveler with it. Feminism must die so the black community can live. Women's rights, yes. Feminism, no. Black women's rights and black women's liberation and empowerment, yes. Pork chop feminism, hell no, never. I'll be right back.